A lot of veterans, I think, probably know about the SBA, but the SBA really begins with veterans. Tell us more.
So the predecessor agency to SBA was called the Small War Plans Commission, and its whole purpose was to help returning World War II veterans get government guaranteed loans, federal contracts, and counseling. And so that's what we do at SBA. It's now under the SBA. That's our main mission, is to really help small businesses, all small businesses, but especially veteran small businesses, access capital, get counseling, and get government contracts, and then in the event of a disaster, help folks as well.
No, that's great to hear about the history, but that kind of is a good follow-on to my question. So veterans transition out of the military, and
Yes.
their options are get a job in a big company,
Right.
or go to school, use their GI Bill. But a lot of veterans say, you know, I don't want to do that. I want to work for myself. Should veterans be entrepreneurs? How should they think about that?
I think the veterans should certainly look at being entrepreneurs. They have the natural skill set. I always say this, that entrepreneurs, small business owners, and veterans share a lot. They have the ability to adapt, adjust, and overcome. They have grit and determination. They have leadership from all of their years in the military. I think there's a tremendous opportunity. What we're focused on at SBA is providing free resources to those who are in service or have left the service to get the business counseling they'll need through our veteran business outreach centers and our small business development centers. And so there they can come up with an idea, they could even find an idea and then begin to build on that idea. So they can walk into a veteran business outreach center, they can meet with a counselor, and they can start the process of identifying a business they might want to start or acquire or grow, and the process to do that step by step, identifying the market, identifying the resources they might need, and then taking that next step. And they have a partner along doing it.
Now, let's ask about that assistance, because I could imagine a veteran comes out and says, my family was always in business, so I've seen it, I've worked in it. But others might say, you know, I really never have. And I'm kind of apprehensive, right? I don't know how. Is that the kind of training I'll get?
Yeah. So whether they're, have worked in business or not, our primary course offering for small business veteran or veterans who want to own small businesses is called Boots to Business, and it's like sort of boot camp for running a small business. And whether you are in service, where it's called Boots to Business, or reboot when you're out of service, it's the same concept. It's the same material. It's how to run it intelligently, a small business, how to think through things, how to plan a little bit before you take that next step, because ultimately you're trying to grow that business and derive income from it. And so it's not like you start a business and you have income come out the first day. And so when you plug into any one of these veteran business outreach centers, or VBOCs as we call them, what you're plugging into is really an ecosystem. And you're plugging into localized folks who have connections at both the state and local levels and might be aware of opportunities specifically for veterans. So they not only help you plan, start, grow, expand your business, but they give you ideas. And again, it's a free resource that SBA provides in partnership with state and local economic development officials. We're really proud about our veteran business outreach centers and are renewed focused on helping veterans who have served, currently service members, or military spouses too.
Now, it isn't about the money, but it's really about the money,
Yes.
right? So does the SBA give loans? I mean, I will need some money. How does this all work?
Yeah, so as part of that process, when you're acquiring your resources and understanding what you're going to need to start your business, whether you're acquiring a business or something, you're always going to need capital. Sooner or later, every small business owner runs into that capital equation. So SBA has a variety of loan programs to help veterans where they are. The smallest loan program is called our micro lender program, and it's essentially a loan up to $50,000. And it's usually of short duration, a few years max, and that's to get them started and all of that. But there's also the 7A loan, which is generally the all-purpose loan. And for veterans, we have called what's Veterans Express, where we have fees waived for those loans. The variety of loans are all there. The advice I would give, again, to any veteran who is a small business owner who's seeking capital is, again, to understand what you're going to do with that capital, understand your financial projections, and working with a veteran business outreach center or small business development center. And again, these resources can help you plan your financial projections, help you understand what to do once you get that capital, and help you acquire the right amount of capital. The worst thing that could ever happen to any small business owner, veteran or otherwise, is they get into so much debt that they essentially have taken on too much rope to hang themselves, as I say. And so it's to plan intelligently what you're going to do with that capital. But SBA has plenty of resources. It's part of our mandate to help veterans and all small businesses access capital. That's why we exist. Most folks know of SBA loans, and that's what we do really well.
a lot of traffic in the veteran community about, buying a franchise, sort of business in a box kind of stuff if you've never done it. What are your thoughts on that?
Franchises are great opportunities. We have over 6,000 small business franchises listed on what we call our SBA franchise directory, and people can Google that. Again, it's our SBA franchise directory. And what that is a list of all the franchises that are eligible for SBA loans. So that helps you narrow and sort of say, okay, well, if I'm going to use SBA financing to acquire my business, I want to make sure that that business is eligible for SBA financing. But the other part of franchising too is to make sure you do your homework. And again, this is where a Veteran Business Outreach Center, you can walk in and say, I'm thinking of acquiring any franchise. It really doesn't matter. And they're going to tell you what to look for. What are the fees? What are the expected returns? All the nuances of running those businesses. Yes, they are businesses in a box. We're very clear. They help you. They've thought through a lot of the operational headaches of running that businesses, but the financing and also the details and the metrics and the performance of those franchises are something that a veteran will want to consider. And again, those counseling resources can help people think through acquiring that. One of my key messages to veterans or any veteran entrepreneurs, you do not have to do this alone. There are free resources, particularly with SBA and our outreach centers, to help veterans, and we want to do it.
Now, you've gone through a lot of stuff. I imagine I go to sba.gov
Yes.
to begin to navigate, and from there I can go to the VBOC or
Yeah,
however.
SBA.gov/vets is the first step. There's tremendous resources there. You can reach out to any one of our veteran business outreach centers. You can reach out to a small business development center. We have over 900 of those across the country. And just pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to learn more about this. I'm a veteran. And then people will point you in the right way. They know what they're doing. They've seen this before. So SBA.gov/vets is a first stop. But if you go into any small business development center or our Veteran Business Outreach Center, which are veterans focused, they know what to do. The hardest step is picking up the phone or going on the website, making the appointment, and connecting with them. But once you do, you're going to see it's kind of common sense, and these people have seen it before. It's sort of like a new patient coming into the VA system. They've seen this before. They know how to deal with it. Same concept. We know how to deal with veterans who are thinking about starting or acquiring their own small business.
Our conversation has been about veterans, but you also care passionately about military spouses.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
So my brother currently serves in the military, and his wife, he's in the Navy, and they've moved 20 times, as happens in the Navy life. And so she's had to find her own way to support herself while her husband's been deployed. And so one of the things we are really focused on, and one we want to make sure that folks are aware of, is our resources are available to military spouses for free as well. And we want to help them just as much as we want to help the service members or the veterans. And those resources are available, whether they're CONUS or OCONUS. There are online resources where we can reach out, again, to those military spouses and find a community where they can learn more about starting a small business or what opportunities might they be able to have their side business or their small business or things to think of over time. Those resources, again, that counseling is really beneficial, and we're trying to make sure that military spouses are aware of it as well.
Bill, these are interesting to learn about the resources, but everyone wants to know, give me some examples. So tell me what happens.
Yeah, one of the best parts of my job is I get to actually go out there and meet veteran small business owners who have done it, who have accessed SBA resources and have grown as a result. So 3 quick examples. 3D Security, a guy named Chris Sweeten in Albuquerque, New Mexico, started his own firm. He got his veteran-owned or service-disabled veteran-owned certification and provides security training to the military. The second one is Warfighter Tobacco in San Antonio, Texas. I just visited him. What a great opportunity. These are guys who are former special ops guys, and they started their own business, and they have access to SBA resources over the time, including EIDL loans, economic injury disaster loans, and PPP during the COVID era. And they have grown, and they're doing wonderful. And they're an example to other veteran-owned businesses about how to do that. The final one is Battlesite Technologies. Again, they're based in Ohio, a small business that started with SBA counseling resources, and over time they've built up, they're all former veterans, and they've built up the opportunity to provide communications and security equipment to the military specifically for the Special Forces community. And so they're doing a great job. I get to visit all of them and just hear their journey. And that is, it's a journey over time. And what they've done is they've come back to SBA for that free counseling or resources, and they've done well. And they're so proud, and it's just one of the best parts of my job.
Well, it's great to hear they're also models for other folks.
Yes.
And I hope along the way they're hiring other veterans.
Yes, Battle Site Technology only hires veterans. And I think Warfighter Tobacco does too as well. And it's a natural, they want to work with guys who understand where they've come from, and that's what they do. And they give back in so many ways. They don't only give back to veterans, but they also give back to the communities in many ways through charitable activities. They do a great job.
And the perfect trifecta would be they're building products made in America.
Yes, made in America, and very proudly so, and they're doing a great job. And so it's the veterans are community. They're doing a wonderful job.
So again, review the bidding, website, in-person assistance, state and local means you can also probably get advice about the state and local resources too, right?
Yeah, also too, the contracting opportunities. One thing we haven't talked about is SBA certifies veteran-owned and service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses for federal government contracting opportunities. So in 2023, SBA took that process over from the VA.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're really proud about this because the Administrator Leffler and I have been really focused on making sure our veterans get their certifications done fastly and efficiently and accurately, and so that they can go bid on the veteran designated opportunities, the sole source awards, and all of that. And so we have that at the federal level, at the federal government level. Everybody, I think a lot of people know about veteran set-aside preferences in federal contracting. The Department of War and VA have a lot of those. But also, too, at the state and local, they also have veteran designated opportunities for contracting as well. And so what we see a lot of is veterans leave the service, and then because they're exposed, particularly to the Department of War, they're able to access their insider knowledge to help provide contracting services, IT support, construction, manpower, all of the different resources that the Department of War and the VA need to carry out their mission. The veterans are a natural fit, and so getting their veteran certification through SBA is a part of accessing those opportunities. But there are also, again, veteran opportunities at the state and local as well for contracting.
Well, this has been great.
Yes.
Did I miss any questions? Is there anything I missed?
No, this is great, and thank you for having me. And again, SBA.gov/vets, we are happy to help in any way. We are eager to help, and I want to thank again all the veterans for their service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.